and the perpetual ember of jack-o'-lantern. The winds that swept through the desolate, peat-laden moors of Oakhaven were perpetually cold, but on the eve of All Hallows, they carried a chill that bit deeper than mere frost. They carried whispers of Jack, the man whom neither heaven nor hell would claim. Jack was not always a spectre. In life, he was a miserable, cunning drunkard, a trickster whose silver tongue could charm the coins from a miser's purse. He once trapped the devil himself, first with a silver cross and later with a simple apple tree, extorting a promise that his soul would never be taken. When Jack eventually died, a miserable death alone in the mud, heaven's gates were shut to him due to his sinful life. He wandered to the fiery pits of hell, but the devil, true to his word and still nursing a grudge, denied him entry. "Begone, Jack," the devil's voice boomed, "and take your mischief elsewhere." With a final, mocking gesture, the devil tossed Jack a single, eternal burning ember from the furnace of hell. To carry his only light through the endless, in-between darkness of the world, Jack hollowed out a large, gnarled turnip, a common root vegetable, in those parts and placed the ember inside. Thus, he became Jack of the Lantern, a cursed soul doomed to wander the earth, his turnip lantern the only beacon in his perpetual night. The villagers, fearing his lost and bitter spirit, began carving grotesque faces into their own turnips to ward him off. But as the years stretched into centuries, the legend mutated. The old Irish tale crossed the Atlantic with immigrants, and the humble turnip was replaced by the grand, orange American pumpkin, easier to carve and more imposing. The story of Jack, too, began to change, intertwining with the tales of other lost souls. Our story, the new part of the legend, begins with a man named Elias Thorne, a modern, cynical man who inherited an old, isolated farm near the Oakhaven moors. Elias scoffed at the local superstitions. He saw the jack-o'-lanterns that decorated the few neighboring porches as quaint, foolish traditions. On a particularly dark and stormy Halloween night, a night when the veil between worlds thins to a mere wisp, Elias was alone in his farmhouse. He had spent the evening carving an exceptionally large, almost human-sized pumpkin, but not for warding off spirits. No, Elias carved the most menacing, toothless grin and triangular eyes he could manage, purely for his own amusement. He placed a large candle inside and set it on his porch, a cynical beacon against the storm. As the candle flickered, the wind howled, and the very air seemed to thicken with unspoken age. Elias, inside, felt an unfamiliar, biting chill that no amount of firelight could dispel. A shadow detached itself from the gloom of the moors and drifted towards the house. It was Jack, the original jack-o'-lantern, still wandering, still cursed. The spectre, an ethereal being of mist and malice, saw the bright, new pumpkin on the porch. For centuries, Jack had used only his small, dull turnip. This grand, orange vessel, glowing so brightly, represented a chance to finally upgrade his eternal burden. Elias, peering through a window, saw a swirling vortex of shadow coalesce around his prize pumpkin. He rushed to the door, flinging it open, just as the spectral energy consumed his carved creation. The candle within the pumpkin flared violently, the flame turning an unnatural, sickly green. The pumpkin lifted from the porch, floating in mid-air. "Get away from that!" Elias shouted, a foolish command to a timeless entity. Jack's form solidified, his old turnip in one hand. With a gesture of pure, ancient envy, he reached out his other hand. The green flame from the pumpkin shot out, a tendril of eldritch fire wrapping around Elias's neck. The man clawed at his throat, his breath stolen by the spectral fire. The spectre did not seek his head to replace a lost one, as the sleepy hollow horseman might have. No, this Jack simply wanted a better lantern, and he found a fitting new wick in Elias's trapped soul. In a horrifying, silent moment, Elias's head vanished, replaced by the now glowing, monstrously grinning pumpkin. The green flame now burned where a human head should be. The original Jack vanished back into the moors, his turnip cast aside. The new, superior pumpkin now balanced on his shoulders, his laugh a dry, rustling sound on the wind. Elias Thorne was gone, his cynicism rewarded with a new, horrifying form. Now, on the moors of Oakhaven, local lore speaks not just of the wandering Jack, but of a second, more furious spirit, a man in modern clothes, with a bright green flamed pumpkin for a head, forever chasing the original spectre, forever bound to wander the cold, peat-laden moors in a silent, perpetual pursuit for his stolen humanity. The new element, the modern man who mocked the legend and became a part of it, ensures that the tale of the jack-o'-lantern remains as current and terrifying as the night is long. Be careful with your Halloween decorations, you never know who might be looking for a light. Now, a music battle.